You're watching Let the Quran Speak. Now we answer questions we receive from you, our viewers. If you have a question yourself, please visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com. Okay, Brother Shabir, the first question is about dogs. So this person is around dogs a lot and is wondering what was the Prophet's attitude towards dogs? What are the limits around dealing with dogs? And how should a Muslim woman respond, if they're always around dogs? How should they deal with the situation?
Yeah, so most people get the impression that Muslims somehow have something against dogs.
Yes.
So we need to go back and see where this comes from. There are some traditions that mention that the Prophet, peace be upon him, ordered dogs to be killed, and then he made an exception only for the sheep dog or the guard dog. Or the hunting dog. Mm-hmm. But if one were to start with things in order, like first we look at the Quran to see if the Quran says anything about dogs, and then we go to the traditions and we put everything together. Well, the Quran actually doesn't say anything negative about dogs. In fact, there is something positive, because in the story of the youth who hid in the cave in the 18th chapter of the Quran, the 18th chapter, we have it that they had a companion, a dog. Many commentators say that this dog will also be in paradise. Now we know that nothing impure or unclean will be in paradise, but this dog will be there. So some will say, okay, but God will make this dog pure, so it'll be in paradise. But nevertheless, the Quran does not show anything negative about the dog and doesn't show that the dog is impure. On the other hand, there is actually a mention in the Quran that the food that is procured for Muslims by means of their hunting animals is permissible to eat. This is specifically mentioned in the 4th verse of the 5th chapter of the Quran. Among the hunting animals, there were dogs at the time. So it is well known that the dog would go hunt the animal, bring it back to the, or at least retrieve the animal that may have been killed by a spear or arrow. The dog would go retrieve it and bring it. So the dog comes with the animal in its mouth. Something that the saliva of the dog is impure, but this seems to speak against that, because obviously the saliva of the dog gets mingled with the meat which it brings to its master. So from the Quranic perspective, there doesn't seem to be anything wrong with dogs, and dogs may be good hunting animals, and the meat that they bring in their mouths are good for Muslims to eat. Obviously after washing and so on, as we would treat any other meat. So where does this idea come from that dogs are somehow impure? Well, it could be...
And their saliva is impure as well.
Yes. It could be that at the time there were some dogs which were rabid, and the best way of dealing with that situation to protect the population was to euthanize some dogs. And as the people remembered the tradition, they just remembered that dogs were euthanized without remembering the reason behind it. So it's not mentioned that the dogs were rabid, but that would be a good reason why dogs were euthanized. Otherwise, there'd be no good reason. There doesn't seem to be anything fundamentally wrong with dogs per se. And that's why, obviously, exception was made for the hunting dog and the guard dog and so on, because they perform some useful purposes. Nowadays, we know that dogs perform many more valuable services. You could have a guide dog, for example. A person with no eyes can have the dog as his eyes. And such a person should be allowed to attend the mosque or to attend any Islamic service without having people going, wait a minute, something is wrong here. So Muslims do not have to react with this kind of negative reaction every time they see a dog.
That's all the time we have. Thank you, Brother Shabir.
You're welcome.
For updates and additional information, please visit our website, www.quranspeaks.com. And write to us, because your comments and questions help guide the show. I'm Safiya Ali. For all of us here at Let the Quran Speak, thank you for watching. I'll see you next week.
Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar.